discuss how to give time signals for our limited preparation events. So if you're scheduled to judge one of our limited preparation events, including extemporaneous speaking, impromptu speaking, or impromptu sales, be sure to check out this video for more information on what exactly you need to do to communicate how much time is left to competitors during the round. If you are not judging a limited preparation event, please feel free to skip this video because you will not be giving any time signals to your performers during their performances. So first, let's talk about different hand signals to give during the limited preparation performances, and then we'll talk about how to give verbal time signals when students are preparing in the room in front of you for events like impromptu and impromptu sales. First of all, in all of our limited preparation events, you are going to be giving time signals with your hand to the performers while they're performing so they know how much time is left in that performance. See, with limited preparation events, these students are only given a very short amount of time to actually prepare what they're going to say. So they don't actually know how long they're going to be speaking without any sort of feedback from you as to how much time has passed. They're not expected to time themselves. So what you're going to be doing during their performance is counting down how much time they have remaining using your hands. Typically, we only expect judges to use one hand to count down those time signals, so don't stress about having to give time signals for 7, 6. You can start at 5. That's totally okay. But it's really simple. All you have to do is hold up a finger for every minute that's remaining. Let's say, for instance, you're judging extemporaneous speaking. In this event, students have a maximum of 7 minutes to deliver their speech, and they're coming into your room already prepped and ready to go. So a student comes in and begins performing. Once they've been speaking for 2 minutes, you're going to hold up 5 fingers to let them know that they have 5 minutes remaining in that performance. So all you're doing is counting backwards from 7 to determine how much time is left during that allotted time period. So you would hold up 5 when they have 5 minutes remaining, 4 for 4 minutes remaining, 3, 2, 1. Make sense? Now, the other thing that's really important with these hand signals is that you're counting down the remaining seconds for students when they have under a minute left. Some of these students will be speaking for the entire time that they have allotted. So having that last few second countdown allows them to better plan when exactly they're going to stop so that they can do so right on time. So typically what we do is we give students a 30-second time signal, a 15-second time signal, and then the last 5. Whatever hand signal you choose for this 30 and 15 is totally up to you, as long as you're able to explain that to the students before they start speaking. So for instance, if you're judging extemporaneous speaking and the student's been speaking for 6.5 minutes, so they only have 30 seconds left, you'll want to give them a time signal, maybe a line like this for half. I like to do like a little C kind of emotion. Some people will do, 2 fingers, whatever it is. Let them know that they have 30 seconds remaining and make sure that you're communicating what that hand signal is before the round starts. I also like to give students a 15-second time signal so they know when they have 15 seconds left, which for me, my favorite is this one, but of course, any of those will do. And then you're going to count down the last 5 seconds, just right there on your hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's the trickiest part of judging limited prep because you're actually having to watch your clock while watching the performance to be able to communicate how much time is remaining in the round. But once you get the hang of it, it's really simple. So let's recap about those hand signals. You are going to let the students know by holding up a finger how many minutes are left in that round. So when a student comes in and they've been performing for a couple of minutes, you'll hold up 5 minutes remaining, then 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute. Then you'll want to give them a hand signal for 30 seconds. I like to do this, but whatever you use is up to you. 15 seconds, once again, whatever you use is up to you as long as you're communicating that to them. And then the last 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, when I say you need to communicate this with students before their performance, you can either do this when the student comes into the room ready to perform, like with extemporaneous speaking, they won't be there before they're ready to perform. So you can just quickly explain it to each student before they start. Or in an event like impromptu speaking, when you've got all of the students there at the beginning before you send them out to be sequestered for the prompt, you can explain it to all the students to save yourself the work of having to do it before every single student. Now, let's talk about how to give verbal time signals for those events where the students are actually prepping in that space right there with you. For impromptu speaking and impromptu sales, students are going to be prepping in the room directly in front of you. Now, they will be sequestered until they're ready to perform because they're all going to be speaking from the same prompt. So you don't want students who haven't performed yet to be able to see that prompt, and they'll know. They'll leave the room. They know that they're not supposed to be in there before it's their performance time. So when it's time for the student to perform, you'll hand them their prompt, whatever that is, and then you're going to let them know that while they're prepping, you'll give them 30-second time signals while they're prepping, and then you'll start to count down the remaining minutes once they're performing. So with those 30-second verbals, as soon as you start that timer, you're going to be watching your timer, and every 30 seconds that passes, you're just going to say that out loud. So when you notice 30 seconds have passed, you're going to say 30 seconds. When 1 minute passes, you'll say 1 minute. When 1 minute 30 passes, you'll say 1:30. And as long as it takes those students to prep, make sure that you're giving them those time signals every 30 seconds. Because the students aren't actually looking at you during that prep time, they're looking at their prompt and trying to figure out what they're going to say. So if you were to just give them hand signals, they wouldn't even see it. And students are also not going to be timing themselves during this event. They're relying on you to communicate those time signals to them. So being able to verbally give those time signals every 30 seconds helps the students keep track of how much time they're spending prepping. Then when they stand up to speak, the same thing applies as we just talked about for extemporaneous speaking. You're going to be giving them hand signals for each minute that's remaining during their performance. Now, once again, you're going to be counting backwards from the total allotted time in that event. So impromptu speaking is a maximum of 7 minutes. When they stand up to speak, you're going to be calculating backwards from 7 to determine how many fingers you hold up. Let's say the student preps for 1 minute and 40 seconds before they stand up to speak. And you have given them those verbal time signals while they're prepping, but they stand up to speak. And now the next time signal you need to give them is a hand signal, noting that they have 5 minutes remaining once they've already been speaking for 2. Just like with extemporaneous speaking, you're also going to give the students those hand signals at 30 seconds, 15, and the last 5. So let's recap how all of this works. Students in limited preparation events are going to be counting on you to give them time signals so that they know how long they should be speaking. In events where they're already prepared coming into the room, like extemporaneous speaking, you don't have to give them any verbal time signals, just the hand signals for every minute while they're performing, as well as a 30-second, 15, whatever you want to do for that, and last 5 seconds. For an event like impromptu speaking or impromptu sales, where they are prepping right there in the room, you'll also give them verbal time signals every 30 seconds while they're prepping. Then the hand signals when they're up performing. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, this sounds way too complicated, there's no way that I can do this and actually judge the performance, let someone know. Oftentimes at the ballot table, we'll have extra people that we can send with you to do those time signals during the event so that you can focus on judging. Now, that's not going to be the case at every single tournament or for every single round. So you may end up having to give those time signals yourself. But if you're questioning it or you don't exactly feel good about how to give those time signals and you let someone at the ballot table know, then they'll at least go over those again with you before you're expected to do them in your round. So if you have any kind of questions or you're feeling insecure about giving time signals, all you have to do is ask. We want to make sure that you have the accommodations you need to be successful as a judge, and that means giving you help whenever we can offer it. But time signals are an important part of those limited preparation events. So if you're judging limited prep, make sure that you're able to give those students time signals, whether verbally or by hand, depending on the event, so that they know how much longer they have left to speak.